You saw the message. You read it immediately. Your heart shifted slightly. It was from someone you care about, someone whose opinion matters more than you admit. You started typing. Then you stopped, closed the app, told yourself you would reply later. But later never feels quite right. Hours pass, sometimes a full day. And the strange part is this: you actually wanted to reply. So why didn't you? Why does something as simple as sending a message feel like stepping into exposure? Why does pressing send feel heavier than it should? You are not ignoring them. You are not playing games. You are not uninterested. You are thinking, replaying, adjusting. You reread their message 3 times. You analyze tone. Was that sentence warm? Was it distant? Was that emoji neutral or affectionate? You start typing. Delete. Type again. Delete again. Too much enthusiasm feels risky. Too little feels cold. Too thoughtful feels intense. Too casual feels careless. You imagine how they will read it. You imagine how long they might take to respond. You imagine them screenshotting it. You imagine silence, and something inside you tightens. So you wait. You tell yourself you just need a clearer head, a better response, a better time. But the delay grows. Now it feels awkward to respond quickly. Now it feels like you must explain the delay. Now the message has weight. So you wait longer. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever stared at a message you wanted to send and felt frozen? Have you ever told yourself you will answer later and then felt guilt quietly build? This behavior shows up in subtle moments. A romantic interest sends something vulnerable. You hesitate. A friend invites you somewhere. You overthink your enthusiasm. A coworker compliments your idea. You craft a reply that sounds modest, but not insecure. A family member reaches out warmly. You want to respond with warmth, but something holds you back. On the surface, it looks like procrastination, but inside it feels strategic. It feels protective, because once you send it, you cannot control what happens next. Before you send, everything is still yours. You can edit, you can soften, you can reshape. After you send, you are exposed. Your tone can be misunderstood. Your energy can be misjudged. Your interest can be measured. Silence, at least, feels neutral. Neutral feels safer than vulnerability. So you delay. But here is the paradox. The delay creates the very distance you're trying to avoid. Have you noticed that? The silence starts speaking for you. They might think you are uninterested. They might think you are distracted. They might think you are distant. And the irony is painful. Because you delayed precisely because you cared. You cared about saying it right. You cared about protecting connection. You cared about protecting yourself. At some point in your life, you likely learned that words matter. That tone can shift relationships. That enthusiasm can be misread. That being too much can cost you. So you became careful. Careful looks mature. Careful sounds thoughtful. But sometimes careful is fear wearing sophistication. And slowly your inner world becomes a drafting room. You live inside unsent messages. You rehearse conversations privately. You polish language that no one sees. You manage perception instead of expressing truth. And something subtle begins to happen. You disconnect from spontaneity. You disconnect from immediacy. You disconnect from simple relational flow. And connection begins to feel like performance. When did replying become something that required this much calculation? When did expression start feeling dangerous? You are not weak. You are not socially incapable. You are protecting something important. Your nervous system believes there is risk in visibility, and visibility means being seen without editing. When you press send, you step into uncertainty. You cannot control how they interpret you. You cannot control their timing. You cannot control their emotional response. And your brain is wired to detect uncertainty as potential threat. So it slows you down. It creates friction. It tells you to wait, because waiting feels like control. Delaying feels like maintaining power over the situation. Your brain believes silence protects dignity. It believes caution protects connection. And most of all, it believes hesitation protects you from rejection. The delay is not laziness. It is protection disguised as thoughtfulness. When you see it that way, something softens. Because this behavior once helped you, it may have prevented embarrassment. It may have prevented saying something impulsive. It may have helped you survive moments where tone truly mattered. Your brain is not broken. It is loyal. But loyalty to old protection patterns can create new distance. The trigger is small, a message notification. But your brain does not process it as neutral data. It scans for social evaluation. The moment you read the message, your brain begins predicting outcomes. What if they pull away? What if they judge you? What if this shifts the dynamic? Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, activates subtly. Not full panic, just alertness. Social uncertainty is processed as potential threat because historically, social rejection meant loss of safety. Your brain evolved to treat relational instability as survival risk. So your nervous system prepares. Heart rate shifts slightly. Muscles tighten subtly. Attention narrows. You begin problem solving. Your prefrontal cortex starts editing language carefully. But simultaneously, your default mode network activates. This network handles self-referential thinking. It starts running simulations. What does this mean about me? How will this affect how they see me? Did I respond too quickly last time? The more you think, the more the threat feels real. Imagine you are standing on a frozen lake. The ice looks solid, but you are not sure how thick it is. Before you step forward, you test it. You tap carefully. You shift your weight slowly. You delay stepping fully. Because falling through feels dangerous. Sending the message feels like stepping onto uncertain ice, so you test endlessly. But the longer you stand still, the colder you become. Stillness does not increase safety. It increases isolation. Now the reinforcement loop forms. Message arrives. Threat signal. Delay. Temporary relief. You close the app. Your body relaxes slightly. Relief. Your brain registers that relief as success. Delaying prevented discomfort. So next time, the hesitation comes faster. The loop strengthens. Message arrives. Threat. Delay. Relief. Stronger fear. Your brain believes it saved you, but in reality, it postponed discomfort while strengthening avoidance. Call this the exposure tolerance scale. Every time you send a message quickly and survive, your tolerance increases. Every time you delay and feel relief, your tolerance decreases. Your brain learns from repetition, not intention. If you repeatedly choose delay, your nervous system learns that exposure is unsafe. If you repeatedly choose small exposure, your nervous system learns that visibility is survivable. The problem is not the message. The problem is what your brain predicts. Predictions can be retrained. The moment you notice hesitation, say internally, "This is protection." Labeling activates your prefrontal cortex and reduces amygdala reactivity. When you name a pattern, you create distance from it. You see the message. You feel tension. Instead of spiraling, you say, "My brain is trying to protect me from misinterpretation." Fear softens slightly. Next, reduce the stakes. Ask, what is the actual worst realistic outcome? Fear thrives in vagueness. Clarifying realistic outcomes shrinks perceived threat. Maybe they misunderstand your tone. You clarify later. That is survivable. The ice is not as thin as your brain suggests. Then create a rule. 2 edits maximum. Then send. Action under mild discomfort retrains your threat response. Repeated exposure without catastrophe reduces amygdala sensitivity. You type a thoughtful response. You feel the urge to rewrite again. Instead, you send it. Heart beats faster. Nothing collapses. Your brain updates its prediction. After sending, resist checking repeatedly. Breathe slowly. Slow breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It calms threat response and prevents rumination escalation. Instead of staring at the screen, you put the phone down. You take 5 slow breaths. You return to your environment. You teach your brain that uncertainty is manageable. Practice micro-immediacy. Reply quickly in low-stakes situations to build exposure tolerance. Gradual exposure reshapes neural pathways. Small wins compound. Old loop, message, threat, delay, relief. Stronger fear, new loop, message, label protection, send imperfectly, regulate, increased tolerance. Every time you choose imperfect visibility, you strengthen emotional resilience. You are not slow to reply because you do not care. You are slow because you care deeply, because visibility feels important, because connection matters to you. But connection does not require perfection. It requires presence. The next time you see the notification, notice the hesitation, notice the old protection, and gently choose one small act of immediacy. Press send before certainty arrives. Let your nervous system learn something new. You do not need perfect words to stay connected. You need courage measured in seconds. And maybe that courage begins with one simple message.